morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the latest edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, hey, let's get started. The NCAA, they have a break in action until Saturday, and I can't wait. But in the meanwhile, we do have some NBA news that we need to talk about, and I'm going to start with my New York Knicks. After having an unsuccessful season, a season I think was probably the worst that I've witnessed, because going into the season, I had high hopes for the Knicks. On papers, they look like a playoff team. Anytime you can add Rose to the mix, you figure Porzingis, he would grow over the summer and become a polished second option. You thought Melo would be motivated coming off the Olympic gold. Maybe possibly there was some life left in Noah. Jeff Hornacek had some success in Phoenix before getting fired after that one bad year. I just thought that they had a chance to compete for a playoff, and it's just been a horrible season. Very disappointed. And what has happened here is that they had a great road trip where they went 0-4, because at this point in the season, if you're not going to make the playoffs, you might as well improve your chances at the ping pong balls. So they had an 0-4 road trip, which I thought was great. But then they come home in front of their fans and decide, let's play hard. And now, don't get me wrong, if there is another disappointing team in the league, and maybe more so than New York, it's probably the Detroit Pistons. And let me tell you why. They made the playoffs last year. They gave Cleveland a tough 4 games in the first round, where people look for them to progress opposed to regress, and they went the opposite way. Just as simple as that. They went the opposite way. So they come to the Garden, they reeling, but they're still in a position to get in the playoffs now. It's a dog race between them, Chicago, and Miami, and right now Miami has the upper hand in the 8th spot. But they come to the Garden, and somewhere in the second half, they just went flat. And New York came out in the second half and just ran up the score, and they get the win at home. Listen, I'm going to watch the Knicks, and I'm going to root for them no matter what. Again, this is a very disappointing season. At this point here, I couldn't care less in these last 8 games if they went 0-8, 1-7, or 4-4. My thing is this: don't go 8-0 in these last games. You're not proving nothing. You can't make the playoffs. Although mathematically you're still alive. But with a loss or a Miami win, you're officially out. But here's the thing. You might as well improve your draft position. Get somewhere in that top 5, and hopefully you get the ping pong balls lie your way. And maybe you can snag Alonzo Ball or Josh Jackson. That's what I'm thinking. If you're this high up, I'm not looking at your Jonathan Isaacs out of Florida State. I don't need project. I need somebody that can come in and play right now. That's what I'm looking at. So, let's do it right, New York. Just lose out. Just lose out. Lose out. Good morning to my cousin Dawn. She's tuning in. Let me share this also. I'm still of the mindset that Phil Jackson must go. I really do. I think he must go. The only thing he has done right was traded for Willie Hernangomez. Again, I don't give him credit for drafting Porzingis. I think Porzingis fell to his lap. If New York had the number 2 pick in that draft, he was drafting Okafor out of Duke. That's my gut feeling. The fact that Okafor and Russell was already drafted, chosen, he had no choice to go with Porzingis, fell to his lap. We might have a gem. Porzingis hasn't shown me 100% that he is a gem. Enough with the Knicks. I want to move along. I want to talk about Cleveland, as they was destroyed and embarrassed last night on the Players Only on the TNT network. In the game of the week, Monday game of the week last night against San Antonio Spurs, that they lost by 30. Listen, I remember years ago when George Karl said about the Lakers, less is more. And I never had heard that before. This is going back to the early days of Shaq and Kobe. Less is more. And he's absolutely right. Right now, Cleveland has a loaded squad. They really do. On paper, they have probably some of the deepest talent than any team out there. But they haven't been able to play. It seems like there's no continuity. There's no chemistry. And their last 10 games, they're 5-5. They got embarrassed last night. They dipped to second in the Eastern standings. Not that it matters where they are, because they can win on the road. But could that be a psychological edge for Boston? Could that play in the minds of Cleveland? I was listening to one of the announcers last night. I don't know if it was Richard Hamilton or was it Greg Anthony or it's Kevin McHale. And, I respect them all. Rip is a winner on the college level and the pro level. Had one of the best jump shots in the game. Kevin McHale, I don't need to say anything about that. Greg Anthony, he was a Knick. He was a favorite. One of them said something that I thought was the strangest thing. They said, they miss Andrew Bogut. How can you miss something that you didn't have? He wasn't there. The guy played one play, broke his leg, and that was it. They never even had him for a game. How do you miss something that you didn't have? Now, if you want to say they need Bogut, sure. You can't miss something you didn't have. And that's something they failed to address. They chose to neglect before the season started. Who's going to back up Tristan Thompson? Shannon Fry, yeah, he's a 7-footer, but he plays like a guard. You can't have him in there trying to man the middle. No, that's not going to happen. Besides, he doesn't like the paint. He's never in the paint. Again, how do you miss something you never had? Is Cleveland really needs to worry? No, I don't think so. But if they don't get their chemistry together, then they're going to have concerns. And there's one player that they brought on their team that I didn't think was a good fit for him, and that's Darren Williams, because he just seems to be a coach killer and a team destroyer. I mean, things don't happen well when he goes to your team. He thinks he's better than what he is. He thinks he's gifted. And he's lost a lot. And mainly up here. So we're going to have to see how all this plays out. But at this point here, this is not the Cleveland Cavs that the Cavs envisioned. Something went wrong. Something went sour. They're going to need to address it quickly. They went 5-5 in their last 10 games. They had some bad losses, one last night, and now they're half a game behind Boston in the column. And just a game and a half in front of Washington. And Toronto is coming. Toronto's won 6 in a row, 7 in their last 10. They're beginning to play ball. They're finding their groove. They won last night in a blowout against the Magic. It really wasn't close. Derozan led them with 36. Lowry is coming back soon. Once he gets into form, you know he's going to be all right. Here's the strangest thing about it. Could this be a benefit for Lowry? Remember, he played in the Olympics. He might have needed some rest. They played deep into the playoffs last year. He played into the Olympics. He might have needed some rest. Derozan was out earlier, so he got his rest. Kyle Lowry comes back. It's not like it's a leg injury or anything like that. It's a wrist injury. As long as it's not affecting his shooting, he'll be fine. He's the point guard. He's just stripping the ball. Could this be a blessing in disguise for Toronto as they plan to go deep again into the tournament? They have a well-rested Kyle Lowry. could be interesting. Looks like they're going to have home court advantage against Atlanta in the first round because it looks like this. It looks like Toronto's going to have the 4th seed. Washington's going to have the 3rd seed. Perhaps it can go either way with Boston and Cleveland at this point as 1 and 2. I would figure Boston to win out. And not win out, but secure this number 1 spot right now. I think they smell blood. They're hungry. They have continuity. They have chemistry. They're well coached. There's no locker room talk. No cameras following them, media or anything like that. So I could see them winning out in this one and securing a home court, which would be a bonus for them. It would definitely be a spark plug that is needed. In other news, Utah, they continue their winning ways. They beat the Pelicans. Gobert, the big guy, he had 20 points, 19 rebounds. So Utah looks like they're going to secure the 4th seed. They already clinched a playoff spot. That could be an exciting first round between them and the Clippers. But with them having a home court advantage, you know what? I'm going with Utah on this one. You know, Utah mirrors Boston from the West. It's just that they don't have the MVP candidate, but they're a solid team. They're deep. And here's the one thing that they have that Boston don't have. They really have quality veteran presence over there. You know, George Hill is a decent presence, but you got Joe Johnson and Boris Diaw. Joe Johnson has been in some playoff games. Boris Diaw, Boris Diaw has won a championship or two. I mean, he just got some games under his belt. Just what they need from him. A little bit in the backcourt, a little bit in the front court. They cover it all. They cover it from a point guard standpoint, from a wing, and from down in the back post. And that helps the job, makes the job easier of a head coach, especially a young coach like Quinn Snyder. So look for Utah to advance in the second round against the Clippers. And I really think that the Clippers is probably going to break up after the season if they get a first round exit. I know as the owner, I wouldn't want to. After spending $2 billion, I wouldn't want to break up the team. I would like to get a return on my investment. And once this team is broken up, to go from 50 wins for four years in a row to maybe rebuilding and don't know when you're going to get 30 wins again. Because rebuilding on the fly is not easy. It really isn't. I mean, you got to have some good fortune. I wouldn't want to break it up, but I definitely can see Blake Griffin bouncing. He'd be the first one to bounce. And if he bounces, chances are you're not going to get Chris Paul to re-sign. So it should be interesting. Lots to talk about as we narrow down. Opening day in baseball is Sunday. We'll start talking about that. I'll make some early predictions probably on Friday or Saturday morning. I'm a Met fan. I may be a little bit biased, but I tell you the truth, as great as the Mets pitching looks, I don't like their lineup. I think the only thing they can do is shoot for a wild card. But we'll talk more about baseball before it starts. Get some early predictions on that. In the meantime, you guys have a nice day. Enjoy your day. Have a blessed day. And I'll get back at y'all in 24 hours. Peace and blessings.